let's talk about Metallica t-shirts. I own 3 myself. I have 3. I have the Master of Puppets. I have one that's from Ride the Lightning, which I think it was part of one of their tour t-shirts where it's the guy in the electric chair and it shows him. I've got that one. And then my other one I've got is actually just the Ride the Lightning album cover. So those are the 3 that I have at this time. And it's funny because the psychology involved. It's one. Now, hey, I don't pay a lot of money for anything, but the one with the guy in the electric chair, I paid too much money for that. And it's like I don't make big purchases, but I paid $25 for that t-shirt. And then I'm like, well, I can only wear it at certain times. I don't want to mess it up. Like, I'm obsessive over saving that particular shirt for special occasions. This one was Old Navy. I think with a coupon, I got it for like $15, $14, something like that. And then the Ride the Lightning one I got, I think at Target for maybe $15, something like that. But it's funny because like I save them for special occasions as if it's this like glorious, nice polo dress shirt or whatever it is, you know. I do that. And it's funny because I think there's something addicting about seeing another man wear a Metallica t-shirt. Like, yes, he gets it. He's with me. He's part of the culture that still listens to Metallica. And, you know, for me, I always had an appreciation for my friend Derek Banowitz in high school. Was the biggest fan of Metallica I've ever met, and I'm sure he still is. But he sort of introduced me to them when I was growing up in the 90s, when I graduated high school in 99. And so I probably became, the Black Album is the one, you know, that's the mainstream one that kind of brought everybody in. But then you go back and you listen to the older ones, and I don't know, I have an appreciation for all of their albums. But it's just funny, the power of a t-shirt, right? The power of a t-shirt, which, side note, I'm sure none of you listen to country music, but my wife, that's all she listens to. And they use the word t-shirt in like every other song. There's even a song called T-shirt. Like, that's a big thing. So there is this, let's talk about the psychology of a t-shirt in general. You know, a t-shirt is, because when people, okay, if I wear this outside and somebody I don't know says, hey man, nice t-shirt. Well, yeah, it is a nice t-shirt. It's pretty awesome. I love the new rendition of Master Puppets. You know, we've got the more colorful version going on here. That's cool. You can actually see the hands there, the fingers connected. I think that's really cool with the sunset here, the lightning. It looks awesome. But ultimately, when someone says, hey man, nice t-shirt, they're also saying, I feel you, I'm with you, I get you. I appreciate Metallica too. It doesn't matter whether or not they're still playing their songs on their new songs on the radio. And granted, when they release new albums, the new albums sell very well. As far as radio play, maybe not so much. But it's that constant appreciation for that. It's that way with any t-shirt that helps you identify your tribe, because that's how we're wired as human beings. We're wired to, when we see someone from our tribe, oh yeah, because we all want to belong to something bigger than us, right? And so we all want to belong to all the categories we've made ourselves into. And an obvious example of that is with American politics. Most people aren't emotionally intelligent enough to rise above that and think, wait, I don't want to have to make a cut and dry choice that I have to either be super conservative and be Republican and vote for whoever candidate they have, or I have to be a super liberal and vote for whoever the Democrats have. Why can't I just be beyond that and not have to identify with one of those? So we see how people are wired. They do that with sports as well. Which, by the way, little side note, one of the reasons I appreciate Metallica so much is I feel that they have this subtle libertarian message, which is what I actually am politically. And I think Metallica really, that's the most consistent message we see in their music. So often they're talking about war. Like, basically, just about every album has one song that is about war and questioning war. You know, we've got For Whom the Bell Tolls, and you hear that, and then there's, of course, One, and then there's, and of course, the one from this album, too, about disposable heroes. I mean, I think that really illustrates what. And then in the Black Album, like I said, Don't Tread on Me, which even if it seems the most pro-American military song that they have, ultimately I think there's a tongue-in-cheek aspect involved. Because when they're basically saying, don't mess with us. If you do, we're going to come after you. But then they talk about how surveillance, that they use the word surveillance, which this is back in what, 1991? You know, that was like around the time of the first Gulf War, and all the wars that America would get involved in afterwards. And they're talking about surveillance. And look at 2018, look at what we're doing. You know, we're constantly, really, in theory, we're constantly at war, and I think we always will be. Why? Because we're the police of the world. We're making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to do and keeping and helping them fight their wars, right? So we're surveilling, we're everywhere. We've got what, is it over 600? Is it over 600 or is it more than that? Over 600 military bases across the world. You know, we wouldn't be cool if they came and camped out where we are in America, but we're everywhere. And that in itself sends a message to the rest of the world. Don't tread on me. And I think recognizing that in the song still was critical, still criticizing American policy, which libertarians do. They question, why are we at war all the time? You know, it's not like we want to go back to this World War II mentality where we're defending our land, you know? But now, and obviously Korea, the Korean War, you look at Vietnam, it's us policing the world. And is that going to stop? No, of course not. Because that is a very political thing. And people don't want to disassociate. You know what? I can love my country, but I don't have to support us being at war all the time. I can support American soldiers, but I don't have to support the fact that we're having to always get involved in everyone's business all the time. And fight these concepts. Like, for example, now I can't know what would have happened during the Cold War and the threat of communism and all that, but we were fighting an idea of communism more than anything during all that time. And even now, we're still fighting an idea of radical Islam. And so, by the way, there's a documentary, I've watched them all on the 9/11 conspiracies. I'm not saying either way, but I am saying it is interesting that most of the people involved in the 9/11 attack were actually Saudi Arabia, not the countries we actually ended up attacking in the war afterwards. I think that's interesting to point out. But see, I'm not saying either way. And that's sort of where a libertarian is that you're able to take a step back and say, I can appreciate what's going on, but at the same time, I can question it too. And I don't have to choose a definite side. I think there's definitely that message that Metallica sends. And I think when you talk to other Metallica fans, you're going to see, wow, they specifically were not a political band. They stayed out of politics, but yet they still had a strong message, which caused us to question ourselves. In the same way that Metallica causes us to question morality. Because we were taught from a young age, it's good versus evil. You see that in superhero movies. You see it in Star Wars. It's always a very cut and dry. Here's the good guys. Here's the bad guys. You want to be one of the good guys. And in reality, it doesn't work that way. Most people want to think about themselves, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. You know, that's what most people think about themselves. But Metallica definitely was instrumental in helping me realize I'm not a good person. I'm not a good, we all want to think that we're good people, but I'm not a good person. Because all day long, I could accidentally, without doing it, offend someone. I could do or say something, even if I'm not intending to, that they don't like. And then they're going to see me as a bad person. So it's better for me to think I'm not a good person, and then if I accidentally, people perceive me as a good person, well, good. But when you're always thinking that you're a good person, you're setting yourself up for failure, because what's going to happen is, well, you can't disrespect me. You can't say that to me. You can't do that to me because I'm a good person. That's the underlying message that is in there with that concept. So there's a lot of emotional intelligence in Metallica's music, and you can see that. You can see that in songs. On the Black Album, for example, Sad But True. And then in the next album, on Load, you've got The Devil's Dance, where you realize that the whole time, the enemy is within you. The bad guy is in you. Even if you don't want to be the bad guy, you're half good guy, half bad guy. And it's a matter of constantly being in this battle, in this struggle with yourself, which there's a song called "The Struggle Within" later on the album, and they even use the word, the phrase "the struggle within" even on "And Justice for All." So there you go. All because I'm wearing a Metallica t-shirt. I thought, I just want to make a video about it. So if I've inspired you to now lust after a Metallica t-shirt, there's so many great ones out there, and you can still buy the classic ones online. I'll put a link just to one of my favorites that I can find in Amazon, and you can click that. If you're in the mood to buy a Metallica shirt, you can join me. And chances are you might even have more than me, but I've only got 3. There you go. If you want to share the Metallica love and talk more about this to keep this conversation going, I would love it. I love talking about them. You can leave a comment right there. Thanks for watching my video, fellow Metallica fan.